Sometimes life is really unfair and bad things can happen to good people. But even when there seems to be no hope and you want to give up, you mustn't quit. In today's video, we have compiled several stories of the amazing transformations that have happened to the most ordinary people. They prove once again that you can always change to improve your life. However, they seem to be more than happy. Scaffolder Jamie Mines. Scaffolder Jamie Mines, at 35 years old, was thrown 13 feet from a half-finished metal roof when 33,000 volts of electricity surged through a tin sheet he was holding. He lost all his limbs in an electric shock, has learned to look after himself and his twin girls after splitting from their mum because he didn't want to be a burden. The talented footballer spent 10 weeks in intensive care, supported by then-girlfriend Harley Ware and their twin daughters Savannah and Isabella. But Jamie has revealed he has now amicably split from 26-year-old Holly and is living alone and regularly looks after the kids. Despite his injuries, a loving dad is thriving with his 4 prosthetic limbs, cleaning his home and cooking for himself and his daughters when they visit. The determined former football striker now spends an hour each morning at the gym and says he can use almost all the equipment except the machine weights. He is also hoping to start volunteering for charity Special Effect, which helps people with disabilities to enjoy video games and screen time by controlling the screen using their eyes. Ian Francis Manga. Looking at 22-year-old Ian Francis Manga's face, it's easy to see why some people have a hard time believing he is a kindergarten teacher and not a student himself. Luckily, he towers over the children, but his face still looks uncanny. Ian Francis Manga from Philippines has always looked younger than his years, and that became even more apparent in middle school, when all the other boys started growing mustaches and armpit hair, but he did not experience any of the changes of puberty. In fact, his facial features remain those of a very young boy, but because he never suffered bullying from his schoolmates, he never felt the need to see a doctor and learn if there was anything wrong with him. Still, he managed to overcome his health problems and passed his kindergarten teacher exams to become part of the faculty. Apart from his baby face, Ian Francis Manga also has a very childish voice and measures only 162 centimeters. He admits that, while his schoolmates never bothered him, his childish appearance did sometimes make him the target of cruel jokes. Some people still tease him by calling him little boy. Satanik Kazeran. Doctors are investigating the strange case of a woman who cries crystal tears. Satanik Kazeran is 22 years old from a Spandaran village in Armenia, and she says her condition is agony and has made her life hell. She has first started crying crystal tears a few days ago while visiting a dentist. It felt quicksand had gotten in her eye, and when she went to visit an ophthalmologist about it, the doctor extracted several crystals from her eye. Since then, her life has become a living hell, as she claims to carry around 50 crystals a day. At first medication seemed to help, but now the crystal tears are coming more frequently. Her relative Svetlana Avajan said, "When we removed the first crystal, we thought glass got into her eye during work on our farm. Specialists have sent the crystals for analysis, but so far there is no diagnosis. In certain situations, genetic or inflammatory diseases of the eye, but also of the body as a whole, changes in the composition of tears can occur." She said if the salt concentration increases, this can cause the acceleration of crystallization. She warned that the crystal tears may be a sign of other problems. Gyargy Rostomashvili. Gyargy Rostomashvili, a competitive strongman and weightlifter from Georgia, recently showed off his Herculean strength by pulling a 200-ton boat using only his middle finger. In this video, shows Rostomashvili holding onto a metal ladder to prevent him from being dragged into the water as he uses his middle finger to drag the Tamaratu into the port of Batumi. The 40-second video is heavily edited and doesn't show the whole attempt, but according to national media reports, the young strongman managed to drag the heavy vessel 5 meters towards the shore. Georgian Records Federation jury confirmed Rostomashvili's record for the heaviest boat pulled with a finger. A representative of the federation said they plan to get in touch with the Guinness Book of World Records about confirming the feat. Sergio Odith. Sergio Odith, A 43-year-old Portuguese graffiti artist impressed thousands of internet users this week when he posted his latest work of art on Instagram. Known for making extraordinary 3D drawings, this time the artist decided to use spray paint to transform a concrete block into an abandoned bus. The details are so impressive that whoever looks at the finished pictures of the project for the first time believes that they're really looking at a bus. Spray painting on differently angled surfaces and corners, Odith is able to create some truly stunning optical illusions, like giant spiders and other insects that look ready to lash out at prey, or elaborate lettering that appears to float in midair. Although he still does freehand work, the Portuguese artist says that whenever he is working on an elaborate project he first uses a computer to do a preview of the artwork before starting work on the wall. It makes sense, considering how accurate you have to be to nail something this complex. Odith has made graffiti art since the 1990s and is constantly honing his art, not only remaining relevant, but also becoming an inspiration for aspiring graffiti artists. Alice Pang. Most female fashion models start their careers in their late teens and retire in their early 30s, but 96-year-old Alice Pang is not your ordinary fashion model. She started modeling at 93, so you could say she's still a beginner. A resident of Hong Kong, Alice always liked dressing well and looking elegant, but never actually considered a career in modeling. But her granddaughter always thought she had it in her, so when she saw an online ad for senior models of 65, she sent in Alice's pictures, and she was chosen for a photo shoot. Never one to back away from a challenge, Pang decided to give it a shot, and even though she knew nothing about modeling, she had all the natural qualities to succeed at it. Today, she is recognized as one of the best senior models in Asia, as well as the oldest. While most people commend her for her active lifestyle and the courage to start a whole new career in her 90s, Alice Pang is not without her critics, most of whom say that she should dress and act according to her age. She chooses to ignore them, though, saying that her personal happiness is all that counts. Victoria Salcedo. Victoria Salcedo from Guayaquil in Ecuador was playing in her home when she accidentally touched a high voltage wire with a metal stick. The accident happened on the November 11th, 2001, and the electrocution caused third-degree burns, so severe that both her arms and one leg had to be amputated. Victoria was so young that she doesn't remember her life before the accident. Victoria refers to her only limb as her magic leg, as it has allowed her to regain her independence. And now Victoria has developed a new and unlikely hobby, freediving. As she grew older, she started realizing that she was different to others, and adapting to others' views of her was not easy at first. Victoria is working hard studying for her social communications university degree as she aims to become a news reporter for her future career. She hopes to continue to inspire others and live by her mantra, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. Joy Henny. When you think of possible emotional support animal species, alligator probably isn't at the top of the list. But that didn't stop one Pennsylvania man from relying on a hug-loving alligator to keep his depression in check. A 65-year-old, Joy Henny received approval from his doctor to use an alligator as an emotional support animal after refusing to go on medication for depression. Named Wally, the unlikely pet reportedly likes to snuggle and loves being hugged and petted. Henny describes the 5-foot-long alligator as a big softie, telling reporters that he never bit anyone and is even afraid of cats. Despite being fully aware of the fact that Wally could rip his arm off if he wanted to, the 65-year-old says he isn't afraid of him at all. Wally will turn 4 this year and might one day grow to be 16 feet long, but if Henny wouldn't have taken him in as a pet, he most likely wouldn't be around anymore. Wally is Henny's registered emotional support animal, like a golden retriever, but cold-blooded. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With this being said, let's begin.